Well, hello YouTube and welcome to another video on my channel. As you can see, I have a sea of art supplies in front of me. These art supplies aren't exactly new. I have had these art supplies shamefully in my possession for some time. And this fall, as I was cleaning out my art studio, I came across quite a few products that actually had dust on them that I'd forgotten about, that I was a little cringe when I met again because I had some buyer's remorse and regrets about buying. And so I thought it'd be fun to put all of my kind of neglected art supplies together in a pile and to do a video on them and talk about my neglected art supplies, take a revisit, see why I've neglected them, why I've abandoned them, and see if I can't revisit them and fall in love with these very cool art supplies. So if that's something that you are interested in, please stay tuned, settle in, because I'm going to get started chatting about that straight away.
So thank you for staying with me. I think basically the products that I have stayed away from over the past year have fallen into, it seems like, two categories. I've got like markers, well, with the exception of these, we'll get to those. I've got markers, and then I've got some paints that I purchased and I just have not, I've just neglected. So, I think that I kind of want to go through the markers first because the paints will probably be more extensive. And yeah, I want to talk about them. So maybe this will be the easiest first. So the first thing I came across was I had purchased earlier this year this pack of Neocolor ones. I had a gift card for Blick, and I went in store and I purchased these. And I have a couple of Neocolor ones, and I have a set of Neocolor twos, and I had purchased a few Neocolor ones open stock because I was curious about the resist and whatnot. And I don't know, I was looking around the store. I'm sorry if you can hear my doggy coughing in the background. I was looking around Blick, and you know, I'll tell you why. I really, the little container appealed to me so much. And I thought this would be nice to just carry with me in like my art kit sketching around in my purse. I thought this might be fun to do some art on the go. And, and I'll wait till he's done. And, you know, honestly, like, they never really made it into my art bag. Well, they did, but they never made it out of my art bag. To at least to be put into use. I did take them out of my art bag to replace them with other things. And then I came across them in my studio on a shelf, and I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, like, I have not even ever swatched these, y'all. Like, they are straight up brand new. So I really want to play with these and draw with them and start using them. So this is going to be a goal for me to start incorporating these into my art practice. I don't know that I'm going to like sit here and swatch them today. But yeah, this is definitely a goal of mine. Please let me know, do you have the Neocolor ones? And do you use them? And how do you keep them? Do you keep them on your desk? Do you keep them in like your art bag? I don't know. Maybe if I keep them here on my desk, I'll use them more. I mean, that tends to be the thing, like out of sight, out of mind, right? And then if I have pens out or whatever, when I do want to start to use something, I'll put it like right in front of my face so that I'll remember to use it. So maybe that's going to be my strategy with these, to just put them in front of my face so that hopefully I remember to use them. And yeah, maybe some accountability too. Like I have a sketchbook here and I'm working on so that I can work towards another sketchbook flip. And yeah, so perhaps that'll be some accountability to use these in my sketchbook so that when I have a sketchbook flip, I can say, see, I did use them. So maybe some accountability will help too. So I'm going to try and really incorporate these into my sketchbook. Maybe I'll get to use them today. We'll see. So those are the Neocolor ones. They were not terribly expensive. I think I got them on sale, and I had a gift card. I think I even picked up something else. So with my gift card. So it was, you know, but I still should use them, and I want to use them. I want to see how they work. So those are the Neocolor ones. Now, the other really trendy thing, I guess I'll keep the other trendy thing I picked up, I think this was last year. These were hot. These Stabilo Boss highlighters, but they came out in nature colors. And I can't imagine these came out in any other season than last fall. So I'm guessing it was last fall that I picked them up. And again, these were not expensive. I mean, maybe they were $10, $12 or something. And they're really pretty, but I've just never really used them. Beyond swatching them, I've never used them. They were on my shelf with some other markers because I just don't use markers very often. And I want to dust these off and start using them. So here are, like I said, I got these last year, and these are nature colors. So I figured what better season to bring these out and do some artwork again in my sketchbook, which is great for, you know, not just water media, but other media like that. So I want to try these out for my sketchbook. And then also, yeah, I was gifted this pencil bag. Very cool. I'm very happy about it. And I'm happy because it keeps some markers. I got some markers from Joann's when they were closing and had big sales and whatnot. And I got a bunch of Tombow, aren't they called Tombow markers? Yeah, Tombow markers. And they were like, honestly, for a song, I paid like $8 a pack. You know how they sell them in the packs? I bought like 4 packs and I got them for $8 a pack. So I got a steal. And now I also got a bunch of Tombow markers, a bunch of colors all at once. And, you know, I have used them a little bit, but not as much as I would like. So these, you know, kind of have been neglected. I would like to incorporate them more into my artwork and also into my sketchbook. So I would like to revisit these, and yeah, let me know what you think about these. I feel like I haven't used them as much as I feel like when I get too many things at once, it's hard for me to incorporate it into my art practice. And I feel like that's what happened here. I feel like had I bought just 1 or 2 packs, I would have really appreciated the markers. I think it would have been a manageable amount of new stuff to incorporate, to look at, oh, just, you know, this set of 6 markers. What can I do with that? And then get to know those markers, how they play together, how they get to meeting. But then, you know, when you buy a whole slew of them, it's I'm overwhelmed with all the colors and the shades and how to pick them and things like that. So it's now I really feel like in order to get to know this medium, I need to spend some time to sort through, pick a color palette. And so it isn't just getting to know the medium, it's also all the things around it that have made it more difficult for me to use this this medium. But again, this is going to be a goal. So I just turned 50 and I set goals for my new year, for my new birth year. And these are my new birth year goals, if you will. I make new birth year resolutions, just kind of things, you know, that I want to see in my life over the next year. And I do that. I like to do that on my birthday, and I check in around New Year's. And anyway, it's just my habit. So I would like to incorporate these into the same sketchbook as that. If you picked up, I'm curious, if you picked these up, have you used them beyond swatching? Am I the only one who swatches and then puts something away and forgets about it? Now, speaking of swatching and putting away and forgetting about it, that's where we get into these watercolors. So these are 2 sets of watercolors that I picked up over the last year. Again, each set on its own, independently, not very expensive, you know, less than $20 each set. The Gansai Tambi, Kuretake came out with a set 2 of the granulating watercolors. And I watched them, and when they came down a little bit in price, I went ahead and bought them. And I don't think I've done any artwork with them. I think I swatched them. I can't remember swatching them. I'd have to look in like some kind of sketchbook, swatch book to figure out where I swatched them. I honestly don't even remember swatching them. It feels like I did because I see a dent, but I don't feel like I've painted with these. It was like, whatever even happened to these? I don't know. But when I was looking at them, I was like, that's kind of Halloween-y. You know, maybe we could do some spooky like fall watercolor stuff with that in October. So I think I'm going to try and do some kind of, you know, trippy kind of Halloween-y painting with that. I think that might be fun. So we'll see what I come up with that. But that's my idea for that. I want to start, you know, revisit these. So that's probably going to be a video. And then hopefully, you know, I'll get to know them in that process and like them and want to incorporate them more and think to incorporate them more into my work. So those are the Granulating 2 watercolors. They came out with a set 1, which I do actually use, which is weird because I just haven't really incorporated set 2 in. And then this, this is also has like a sister set. And the sister set to this is, these are by a brand called Boku Undo. And this actually, I believe it means sister. May, I think that's sister. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, this was the first set that I picked up. And it's like a Sumi set. And there are these really pretty, like, I don't know, dark, moody colors. Do you see that? It's like, it's watercolors mixed with Sumi ink. So they're kind of like this brownish, reddish black, yellowish black, greenish black, brownish black, purplish black, and bluish black are the ones that came in like the original set. And they are pretty and they're very pigmented. And I have used them, not as often as I'd like, but I do use them. I do use them from time to time. I'll think, oh yeah, this would be, you know, a good opportunity for that. And I'll grab this set. So, but what I didn't have for a long time was this set 2. I didn't have this second set of Japanese color. So these are like a brighter version of that. And look, I got them. Like I didn't even swatch them. I didn't make a swatch card. Like, I don't know what happened. I was so excited to have this shadow vermilion. I really was. I love the vermilion is like is my favorite color. If I had to pick one, it would be vermilion. And like I haven't even done anything with them. So I would like to swatch these out definitely and paint with them. I do have some other watercolors that I have purchased and have been neglected. So I don't know if you remember these. So was it last year that Core came out with these minis, and they went on like a crazy sale. And like, I don't know, I ended up getting like an outrageous sale on eBay. I bought 4. I know one tin isn't here. It's empty and put away. But I bought the 4 sets and they were each like $15 a set, y'all. Like it was outrageous. I mean, like, I don't even think I paid that much. I want to say I paid like $30 for all 4 sets. I mean, it was so ridiculously cheap that I just couldn't pass it up. And I had always really been curious about Core, and I'll show you the sets that I got, and I'll show you the set that I had. So I'd been curious about Core, but Core watercolors, they're not inexpensive. They sell them in like, I don't know, 7 or 11 milliliters tubes, and they're pricey, you know? And so when they first came out and there was all this hype, I didn't want to spend like $100 on the set and just, I don't know, I just didn't want to. And on eBay, again, I bought a lot of stuff off eBay, art supplies, by the way, and had a lot of luck. A seller was selling like quarter pans of this, of the Core 24 set. And for like, I paid $13. I paid $13 for this, y'all, from a seller on eBay who basically, you know, I mean, they didn't, like, they weren't overflowing, but there was enough for me to really get a feel for what these watercolors were and if I would like them. And as you see here, you know, I've used quite a bit and I have painted with them a lot. But then I'll be honest, as I was starting to hit pan on some of them, I started to see myself using them more sparingly because I really did like them. And I didn't really want to spend the money to replace them. So I started to use them less. I don't know if any of you can relate. These are actually, I made these. These are handmade watercolors that I made. But anyway, so when I had the opportunity to get some core watercolors, again, I was like, yes, for like a reasonable price. And so in the set came like this iridescent set, and then these are all kind of like color shift iridescent. And then it came up like a blue set. This one here, it's got like a purple and then some blues and then this green here. And it's ultramarine pink dark, ultramarine blue, cobalt teal, ultramarine violet, cerulean blue, chromium, and cobalt green. And then in the last two sets, it was like, oh, I don't remember how they titled them because what happened, it was a bunch of like traditional, well, you'll see these. And I had combined the two sets into this one, thinking that it would be like, oh, here's my core palette. Well, as you can see, like the half pans got totally eaten up. And I don't know what that's about. Like this is the chromium or the cerulean blue chromium here. And it just is like, can you just see? I mean, I am not like a 2-year-old with my watercolor, y'all. You know what I mean? Like I treat, you know, like I'm not, but it just, these got like so gummy and weird. This one too got gummy and weird on me. And these, I don't know. Like they were like, I was eating through them. It was a completely different experience painting with those than painting with the ones that were in a tube and then, you know, hand poured from eBay. Completely different experience. I didn't have, none of these got like a weird consistency or, you know, kind of this kind of sticky, shiny, gummy kind of weird. I was unimpressed with the core half pans. Let me put it to you that way. And so like I put them on the shelf. And now going back to it, I'm thinking, you know, what can I do? I mean, I want to try and like repaint, you know, paint with these again and revisit them. I have a lot of these paints. And like even these half pans, I kind of got funky. And the other thing I'd like to do is I would really like to make a whole palette of these so that I can mix in the iridescence in with the paints, because that's something that I really like to do. That is actually how I like to use my metallics the most, is by mixing them in with other watercolors. And when you have like these color shifts and you're able to mix them in with, it's a nice look. And so I want to be able to do that more. So I think that this is worth the effort of trying to like reconfigure my core palette into something maybe where they're all together or all in one thing, take out these silicone things, you know, and kind of have it all in one place so I can spend some time with like, a core palette. I mean, maybe I need to not worry about these containers altogether and just put them in a tin and see what happens. And maybe that will feel more natural to me and see how I can work with these. If you've got any ideas, let me know down below. I know a lot of you all out there picked up this quad or one of them, or, you know, I would really like to know what your experience has been with these, especially if you have like the other core watercolor set in the tubes. And yeah, I would like to know what you all feel about that. Now, This last set of watercolors that I'm going to talk about, this last product, have been a bit controversial. Yeah, so, I totally understand if you want to click off and don't want to participate in this conversation, but I'm going to go there. I have White Nights watercolors in front of me. So like, I get it. That's why I'm kind of like, I'm putting that out there because I want to be respectful. I do. I understand that there is, stuff going on right now and that this can be, triggering and upsetting to folks. But I am going to go there and talk about things. If you've been a fan of my channel for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of Rosa watercolors. And so, I do have some White Nights in front of me, and I do think it's time for me to go there. So I'm going to go there. And, if this is the time where you head off, thank you so much for spending this much time with me. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you're not offended. Please don't take offense. And if you think that you might, maybe we will stay tuned and hear what I have to say about this. But anyway, I'm going to talk about White Nights watercolors next. So in front of me, I have two palettes from White Nights St. Petersburg watercolors. And they are Russian-made watercolors. And they are well-made Russian watercolors. They're nice. If you watch any YouTube videos pre Russia-Ukraine war, artists love these watercolors, and I do too. And this is a really cool palette, and I miss using my White Nights watercolors, and I miss sharing the joy of them, really. I mean, I use them, but like in private almost, and I'm tired of that. I also have this really cool palette. This is their pastel watercolor palette. I love the tin. And their watercolors, they look like candies to me. And then over here, I have M-gram watercolors because I like to mix that in to intensify the pastels. And this is a palette that I used to really love and enjoy. And then the war happened, and of course I don't support that. I don't support the war, and there was like this initial reaction to really support Ukraine and to kind of boycott Russian products, right? And like, you can't, I don't know if you can even buy Russian vodka in the United States anymore. But anyway, I had mixed feelings about that. I agree that sometimes that voting with your wallet is the best thing that you can do. And sometimes I make that call. And then other times I feel like, it is really wrong to attach like the actions of a government to the citizens of that country who really have very little to do with the decisions that their government administration make. And I feel that way right now, and I don't want like other people, if they disagree with things that are going on, to think and attach that to me or to other citizens. I think that's wrong. And it's made me rethink how I am using my money and what it is that I'm supporting. And I support artists, and this is my community, and my community is watercolors, and my community is artists all over the world, and no matter the country that they live in by accident of birth. And so I don't feel like me, having these watercolors, using these watercolors, I don't think that says that I support war, or it doesn't. That's not who I am. But I support unity, and I support conflict resolution. I actually study it. And I know that in order for conflict to be transformed in a positive way, the first step is finding common ground. And, art is common ground. Art is a common language. And so perhaps this is where we can start. Perhaps this is where we can start connecting, and, like we used to. So I, for one, am going to go out of my way to use White Nights watercolors and everything else. And I'm going to work towards that unity and, also do what I can in other ways to work towards peace and nonviolence in this world. So anyway, thank you for staying and letting me say my piece about that. It's something that's been bothering me for a while. I feel like, in a way, not using these paints, it's taking out on the artist community the same way I felt like, buying all those Rosa watercolors was supporting the artist community in Ukraine. And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be supporting the artist community in Russia too. That's very different than supporting, war. So, yeah, if you agree, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you want to see me use these watercolors and all these products in the future. And until next time, everybody, go give your neglected and forgotten about art supplies a look, a relook, and some love. And let me know down below what you're going to dust off and play with this year. And until next time, everybody, take good care. Bye.